Hey y'all, this is David, the Georgia photographer, and today I'm going to review the 50mm f1.4 Pentax SMC manual focus lens from way back when, and it's right here on my little Leica. I've come down here to downtown Chattanooga today to try and get some decent photos with this lens. I took some in Pine Mountain, Georgia, and I may just use them as my comparative photos because I actually kind of ID'd them. I got a couple at f1.4 here today that look kind of artistic. The light's really super flat because it's way overcast, so I'm probably not going to get much of anything as far as good photos go. I'm just going to try to do basically artistic stuff. I've been trying to get motion blur, not going well. We'll see what I can find. I've got to be at Sushi Nabe at 7:30, so it'll be dark by the time I finish this. And at least once it gets dark, I can get some decent night photos. The sky being blacked out by clouds will probably give me some decent city glow. And let's get the little specs going here. The specs of the lens itself are that it's about 2 inches long, fully racked out on focus. The focus does move the barrel in and out about, I don't know, maybe 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little less. It has about a half a turn from minimum focus to maximum focus. Now, if you were going to shoot street photography with it, it's about 1/4 turn because 4 feet is there. Yeah, about 1/4 turn is full focus throw from 4 feet to infinity. So if you're shooting street photography, focus will be sure and fast because you won't go way past that. I mean, it would be pretty unusual to get less than 4 feet from a subject, especially with 50mm. It also has a nice, well-dampened and firmly clicked aperture ring. And it has clicks from 1/4 to 22. The first click and the last are whole stops, but all the ones through the middle are half stop. It's kind of typical of the period. It has a buttery smooth focus throw. It just has the right amount of resistance with no mechanical feel at all. It just moves. They've got it right. It's just right. Has an 8-bladed aperture, and for me, that translates into beautiful sun stars at night. What I want to do is set up my tripod in a little while and try and get some interesting stars when the sun goes down of the lights of the city and things like that. Right over there is Walnut Street Bridge, so I'm gonna probably use that to get back across the river, but I may wander around up to the Hunter Museum. I ain't real sure. But the lens, all in all, back on subject, is a performer. Now, wide open at f1.4, it seems to be a little soft. But for portraiture, especially portraiture of women who don't want every little crease and line on their face to show, it's kind of a perk. You stop it down to f2, 1 click on the aperture, and it like changes the characteristics of the lens completely. It's shocking the difference that you get from f1.4 to f2. So it's got some cool artistic functionality at f1.4. It doesn't produce like the sharpest photos, but it produces unique photos. And the bokeh is butter, beautiful. Like, I got some photos of some little red holly berries down by the river, and they're just glass smooth. And that's a bunch of buildings across the street. So yeah, I like that, but now I was focused at like minimum focus distance to exaggerate it so you could really see it. This is one of those days when shooting was a struggle for me. Trying to find interesting subjects. It's rich in human activity, but they're not really doing anything other than just walking down the sidewalk. I think they're gathering for an event that's going to happen down here on the river. And I'm going to go over here on the bridge and see if I can see what's happening from the bridge down to the riverfront. Because I really don't want to go down there and get mingled up and all that. I got just a little while before I go eat supper across the river here. But I have taken, wow, But I have taken test photos with this lens on this camera, and it takes phenomenal photos. I've taken them at f8, I've taken them at f1.4. Everything I use this lens for, it just works, and it works really well. Surprisingly so, like to the point that I'm probably not going to get a Summilux. This lens does it. Short of better rendition at f1.4. That would be the only reason I would get the Summilux over the SMC Pentax. This lens is beautiful. It has a quality all its own. That's all I can really say about it. It doesn't, oh look. There goes Sierra and her boyfriend. That's actually kind of funny. But yeah, this is a great little lens. I can recommend it wholeheartedly. If you want to use it for general purpose photography, works beautifully for that. Okay, so I came down here to the aquarium. That's where I'm at. That's the aquarium right there, and I don't know. That's one of the entrances. Whatever. There's a big patio on the back side down here by the river, and I set up the camera over here in the corner of the patio section, and got this photo of the bridge. I love the photo except for the lamp post in the middle of the frame. If the lamp post was just a clean lamp and it didn't have all these cameras and solar panels and junk all over it, it would be a beautiful photo. Got the light trails of the cars on the bridge and all the little slight stars all the way over onto the other side. It's a gorgeous photo other than that lamp post. Maybe I'll look for a spot over here, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to squirm it out and get that lamp post out of the frame. But man, it's a beautiful photo other than that silly little lamp post. So let's see what we can do now. All right, well, I got me a couple of good photos, and I really like the one, I don't know, there's several of them I like actually, but I think that one last good exposed one that I got of the bridge, I kind of overexposed it technically so that the bridge would show through against the sky since it's already getting so dark. I've waited past blue hour basically, and because of that, I'm gonna have to like do some dodging and burning in post more or less to get the photo like I want, which is, I want some of that detail. I want the sky to be kind of dark and the bridge to be a little dark, but I don't want it to be quite so grainy. And I got some grainy photos, they look okay. So now I'm gonna break down this tripod and get this camera put away to where I can trek across the bridge. Actually, I'm gonna take the, maybe I'll just leave it put together and I'll do a long exposure on the bridge. That may be something I want to do. So we'll see about that. I'm halfway across the river. Man, it's starting to rain. And I don't want to get my camera gear wet because I don't really think my vintage Pentax lens is waterproof. So I got to get across the river. All right, I'm off the drawbridge part, so it won't be quite as loud, but now I just got to get over to Sushi and Nabe because that's where me and Teresa are going to meet and eat. So I got on the bridge, set up a composition I saw and that I thought I would really like. Got there, start sprinkling rain, so I start rushing things. The composition just didn't work out. The photo just looks terrible, just to tell you the truth. So I wound up just scrapping it. It was just real busy with tree branches. It didn't turn out nothing like I thought it would. So ended up just scuttling it and hurrying across the river because the rain started coming down and I just did not want to get my gear wet and ruin it. So as far as I can tell though, the lens performs beautifully. I shot all those light star photos, sun star photos at f11, and at f11 I get good sun stars, but I don't get real bad sensor spots from my dust on the sensor. I haven't cleaned the sensor in quite some time, and because of that, I'm pretty sure if I'd have stopped it down to f22, you'd see a lot of spots and it just looked real bad. But if you keep it, you know, f11, you can't really see them. You have to look hard to even notice them. And especially with night sky photos, I'm pretty sure I won't even have to clone out one or two in the sky. So with that, this is David, the Georgia photographer, and I appreciate you watching. If If you haven't done it yet, right down there's the subscribe button and the like button's right beside it. And until next time, get your camera out and go take a picture with it, all right? We'll see you later. Bye-bye.